He has spoken on the topics faith, family and freedom in Cuba, Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
What if I told you that leaders give an attitude, and that's a good thing? Leaders give an attitude, and that's a good thing. When the attitude they give is an attitude of honor. Leaders give honor where honor is due. That's not as easy as it sounds, and sometimes it becomes very tricky. It can also become very political. That's what I want to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and I can tell you the many times that I've been in a place where leaders, not always the person in charge, but the person with influence, have demonstrated the ability to honor someone else for what they've accomplished, for the character they've exhibited, for the ways that they've impacted people around them. And that honor, the attitude necessary to exhibit that honor, might be demonstrated through a certificate or a trophy or a plaque or recognition in front of a crowd. It might be a pay raise. It might be a job promotion. It might be an attaboy that looks like nothing more than a high five or a handshake or a fist bump or a pat on the backside if you're on the football field. A coach sometimes will see a spectacular play by an athlete, and when they come off the field, they get that double high five, or they get that hug, or they get that pat on the back, or they get that pat on the backside. And it's really nothing more than an attitude of honor. I recognize, I acknowledge that you've accomplished something spectacular. It might be in a moment of time. It might be over a game, an MVP award for a game, or an MVP award for the Super Bowl, or that certain accolades at the end of a season, the Pro Bowl. All of those are honors in that specific category. But what do leaders do in your environment to honor people? Is there an award system? Is there a reward system? Is there an attaboy or a high five gesture in your organization? As a leader, have you taken the time to ask yourself, what would be the aspects of accomplishment that would be honor? How could someone in my organizational structure, someone on my team, someone maybe even who's a vendor or a customer, what would they have to do to get my attention so that I would honor them? And then what are the mechanisms that I have in place to make sure that that honor is recognized by others? I mean, the purpose of honoring is that others would see that they've done something spectacular. Sidestep for just a moment and acknowledge that when you honor people on your team, it's not just about lifting them up. It's powerful, and it's necessary to encourage them in that way. It also raises the bar for everyone else around them, and the way that they perform, the way they talk, the way they think, the things they accomplish. All of those things, that honor system that you create for them, it elevates the expectations of others. Why? Well, because as human beings, we're all driven by just a little bit of ego that says, I like to be honored. I like to be recognized. Now, some people don't want the public recognition. Maybe they're genuinely humble. Maybe they have some false humility, but Some people are introverts, recognized in small ways. Some people would rather have a paycheck or a vacation time or a couple of extra days off than receive a plaque in front of the entire company. Others would rather have a plaque in front of the entire company so they can put it on their wall in their office or their cubicle and say, "This is my I spectacular." And I'm not going to comment on the psychology of the one versus the other. Some telltale signs in both of those. However you honor people, you set an expectation for everybody on the same team to be honored. They do the same things. Now, that's where you have to, because accomplishing something that's specific to their wheelhouse, what they're capable of, might be a great incentive for who are capable of the same thing and operating in the same wheelhouse. A wide receiver who has 10 catches in a game versus a wide receiver on the same team who has 1 catch in the same game, probably not going to get the same level of honor. But to judge a defensive tackle by the number of tackles and a wide receiver by the number of tackles, obviously that's a mess. Same thing with soccer. If you've got a power forward, you've got 2 totally different levels of expectation. And so the setting of expectations for who gets honor, that's a hard task. But you also delineate people really fast if you start judging fish on to swim or squirrels on their ability to jump from tree to tree. They're right in their wheelhouse. They ought to be able to do that. That's but and expect every squirrel to swim and every fish to jump from tree to tree, and suddenly your honor system becomes a problem. Now, let me also come back to that word in conjunction with the phrase honor system. See, we've heard the phrase honor system for a long time, and really we're asking people to operate in their honor, to operate with integrity that they come to the table with. The system that you honor with, your level of appreciation for others, your level of respect for others. But how do you prove yourself honor-worthy or trustworthy? And see, that little quiz that has to go off inside the head to say, well, I want to be honorable. I want to be an honorable person, meaning I want to be someone with enough integrity, with enough operational integrity, and see me worthy of honor. And that subtle expectation may not be an awards banquet, may not be a trophy or a pay raise, may not be. It's the trust that comes with being an honorable person. Honor systems usually indicate we're going to trust you to do whatever you need to do, to make decisions on your own, to operate with the standards of ethics and morality. In this honor system, we don't need a receipt for everything. We don't need you to prove everything. We try until we can't. And that violation of the honor system, well, that creates an attitude all on its own as well. Remember, an attitude is what you think about how you feel and how you feel about what you think. And if I feel like you're untrustworthy, then I don't have a whole lot of honor for you. And the honor system then begins to break down. Rather than being a system that recognizes trustworthiness and extra effort and the ability to go the extra mile, it becomes a system that causes us to question everything, question your motives, question your actions, question your relationships, question your decisions. That's not a thing. Once you violated that honor system, the likelihood that you're going to be honored for something else and begins to diminish really, really fast. See, as a leader, but the people on our team, the people that we serve, if we first as human beings, and then second for their accomplishments, that may come back on us as an ego problem. As an ego problem has a really hard time because they feel like by moving the spotlight to them, I'm taking the spotlight off me. If I had so-and-so's great deeds, great activities, great character, great moral, great accomplishments, well, then nobody's looking at mine. Let me just say, if you're a leader and you're in that space, and you feel like the minute I honor somebody else, I acknowledge somebody else's accomplishments, that I lose a little bit of ground, you probably should be working with a coach or a therapist. In your own understanding of your own sense of accomplishments, your own sense of well-being, your own sense of identity, that's not as firm as it should, especially if you're the leader. Leaders understand that there are going to be those that you hire on the team because they're smarter than you, because they can do things you can't, because they can accomplish what you can't accomplish. And the reality is to be honoring them for what they are capable of, for being able to accomplish things. But you shouldn't diminish their deserving of honor because you are not. You also shouldn't diminish their deserving honor, the attitude that goes along with that, the respect, the courtesy, the opportunity, just because you dislike them for something else. See, in the world of politics, a lot of time, honor is used as a manipulative way to build the relationships, to get the votes, to get the money, to get the fundraising done. You honor people at an awards banquet for something they've accomplished that really kind of was their job in the first place. If they just showed up and did their job, pleased that they did their job. But to magnify that just getting by level of service with some honor of some sort, that's usually a addictive bribe. Right? Someone who hasn't deserved the honor, that's pretty transparent. Most people see through that. But some people, purely on their ego, for something they haven't accomplished, or honoring them for something they should have accomplished. It's somebody with a lot of ego, but it doesn't go a long way for doing what honor normally does, and that is to lift someone up, to encourage them, to empower them, and to challenge others to strive to accomplish the same. Leaders understand the power of honoring others. They give honor where honor is due, not where honor is not. They don't use honor as a manipulative way to gain business or political power. They use honor to raise up people through encouragement and to encourage those who have not yet received that honor to have something to strive for. They understand the bar has been lifted. The standards have been exposed. The expectations are clear. Giving honor where honor is due is a good way to do all of that. Giving honor where it is not due, that's a fragile, manipulative process. And the minute people see through it, your honoring of them will have less weight. And it will never set the standards that you want to. But it will reveal your attitude. It will reveal your manipulation. And it will reveal your internal and ulterior motives. So be cautious about that. Wise leaders give honor where honor is due, and they withhold it when it is not due. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.
I'm Chris Knowles, and I just finished taking J Loren Norris's Story Power Masterclass, and it was so worth the time, so worth the money. Really not someone that knows how to get up and speak in front of people, but he really made me feel comfortable, and he broke everything down in a way that I could understand it and helped me formulate a vision that I know that I'll use for the future. Thank you.